Hey everyone, welcome back to my Let's Play of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. When we last left off, I think I had to cut the episode really abruptly because I had a meeting that I forgot about. Sorry about that. You know me, not knowing what's going on in my life. It's an everyday thing. And we found out last time, to not my surprise, that Miss Pavlova's pet was actually a cat and not that snake. You know, in my heart, I just had a feeling it was a cat, and I knew because I love them so much. No, I'm kidding. It's very easy to tell it was a cat at some point along the line, but so we found out that she was trying to get the cat to come back with a cat toy, which is what Kazuma saw as a speckled band, and now we're trying to figure out how Kazuma died. So we got the shoe polish on the floor, like a scuff mark, and also the broken bell from the cat's collar. So I'm still thinking either when the ship shifted, something fell on him, he got hurt, or the cat scared him. I don't know. I know the the ship shifting has to come into it somehow, but we haven't really gotten to that yet, so I guess we'll see. But I want to say thank you guys so much for your continued support of the series. I hope you're still enjoying it, and let's just jump right back in. Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. Ah, and the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's lace leather shoes. Wait, why am I calling him Mr. Asogi? That's so weird. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. He tripped over the cat, and by a dreadful turn of misfortune caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. Well, how did he manage to write a message then, if he was dead? No! I don't think he tripped over the cat. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? Snap claps. What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays a hiding place you chose. The trash can! Oh, we already read this. The traveling... Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't seem... I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But... And if this part of Mr. Shulman's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Isn't the trash can right here? Yeah. Hello? This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. The bell! Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. Do-do-do-do-do! Yes! Yes! That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Ah! Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And, as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no! So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Your cat murdered a man. Why would it be that this part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the wastepaper basket in your cabin? Kya! Kya! I can't do that. I can't scream. You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't. I don't know, and that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo? What accent did I just switch to? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. Yeah. Evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell. That would be the picture.
Yes!
Ah, if you look at this photograph, look at this photo. Sorry, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question. Can I see? Can I have the cat? I want to hear a meow. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? That there cat. Your absent feline friend, Darka. So wait, would tripping over a cat break the bell though? I mean, I guess if his foot made contact with the bell. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Tripped over a cat. Yeah, death by tripping over a cat. Deduction complete. Elementary. That's really sad. You just tripped over a cat? Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. It's true. Me too. She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that's how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point you thought it safe to try to lure the kitten back again, by dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin. Dark always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. So the faint whistling sound Kazuma wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yeah. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... oh, shit. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping. The SS Buria is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could have easily have caused him to fall over. Ooh, that is not the way to go, man. But what became of the kitten afterwards? Do we know? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Tadaka is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again. Gracious! That cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that the young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Yo, is Susanna about to throw her on the ground? Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it and where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board this ship? Is it his? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirochko. What? What? That snake belongs to you. He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Did he eat the cat? Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Ah, we are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend? Without someone who understands? Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Huh? Pirochko does not have venom. He is harmless, very long but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. It's venomless. Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Ah, like they say they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Pirochko eats mouses. Big, fat, round mouses. Ah, oh, so is that what the mouse trap and this passageway out there is for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. Sholmes is dead inside. Wait, what if they've run out of mice? Are there that many mice on board this ship? It refuses to drink milk, it can't hear a whistle, it can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Pirochko has nothing to do with this incident. Okay. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. He tripped over a cat. It feels strangely anticlimactic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess not every murder in these games has to be some elaborate motive and cause and the human being a bad person. But like to be like, oh yeah, Kazuma, this badass ninja guy, tripped over a cat and died. You know what I mean? Like, and also, how did he write a message on the floor if he like died instantly from his neck being broken? It doesn't click. But maybe he didn't die instantly. I thought they said he did. But maybe Sholmes was just saying that. I don't know. I'm waiting for Susanna to like throw her. Miss Pavlova? Why couldn't you follow the fucking rules? I'm kidding. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. Young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But what are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. Pull yourself together, man. It was just a series of unfortunate events featuring Lemony Snicket, an accident. Yeah, see, I didn't think so either, Susato. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But I know a lying bitch when I see one. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? I mean, I do. To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. That he died instantly? Is that the... I confessed. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh. What? Thanks. Herlock? I'm only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Ah, not again. When did he do that? Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Wait, what? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? He was my best friend. Yes, Kazuma was my closest friend. Apparently I was calling him Mr. Asogi earlier for some reason unbeknownst to me. I owed him my freedom, even. Susato was in love with him. I mean, I also was in love with him. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. Oh! The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, shall we begin? Yes. What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Hold it!
Yeah, shut up! I'm kidding, I love you, man. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. But really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. Okay. Well, where's the... Cause of death was a cervical spine injury. So here's the thing. If he died immediately, then the problem is... Who wrote this, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's gotta be this. I mean, well, let's try it.
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. I can't tell if I'm wrong or not. There's no way that Mr. Asogi... Okay, why am I calling him Mr. Asogi again? Could have left this message on the floor. That script. It's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese, in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Okay, I'm not crazy. Instant death. Ugh. Yeah, which means after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead. Idiots? What on earth? That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there if what Miss Pavlova told us was true. What? So, Susato-san has noticed it too then. Girl, why ain't you speaking up? Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words, let me see the newspaper, the diary. No poison, a scuff mark, a ship's log. Is it the paper seal? Because if he was dead, who put that on the door? Right? Potentially? I mean, someone must have known I was in there and then wrote wardrobe on the floor.
Yes!
What point are you trying to make with that evidence? I'm starting to see how Kazuma's death really happened, I think. Ah, shit. Wasn't that? I think that you were starting to see nothing of the sort, and that was the evidence to prove it. Damn. Ugh. Roasted. If it was no accident, then if it was no... Oh, hold on. What'd you say? If it was no accident, then what we should be looking for is one of two things. Either the absence of something you would expect to find at the scene of an accident, or the presence of something you wouldn't. Most compendious is... What is that word? Most compendiously put, my dear madam. Ah, I see. I like that they give you a hint. I don't think the older games used to do that. I confess your rather languid IC doesn't fill me with confidence, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe in you. Well, more than Mr. Sholmes does, anyway. Yes, it's Gosab, clear contradiction. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. Pointless, okay. What am I forgetting? I thought it was that, like, someone would have had to put this on the door, but I guess not. The diary? The skid mark? Not the ship's log. Is it the skid mark? Piece of glass and what looks like a scuff mark. Oh, because where's the other half of the bell? Unless it was still attached to the cat's collar.
Yes!
Am I being terrible? Oh no, we got it! This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But that's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Fortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. A Final Fantasy. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Oh, okay, alright. Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. So we're saying she didn't talk about how she got that bell back. She would have had to... I mean, I just assumed she grabbed it when we went in to see the body. Has she gone in to see the body? Maybe not. Okay, never mind. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt. Gah! Yes, there is someone else present at Mr. Asogi's...
Hold it!
Who the hell? You are wasting time. Who's that? Oh, someone else was there. Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Talking about me, obviously. Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. But when the ship tipped, then the door locked. And only other person in cabin when young student died was you.
Yes!
It's true, I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Or sealed myself back in the wardrobe? Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Ah ha 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 ha! Forgive me, my dear fellow. Trying to steal my spotlight. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor, in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. That rhymed. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. Why didn't they take both halves? Yeah, but why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, yeah. Some people are stupid. It was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspending from the ceiling would barely have cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder, then, that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. You all suspect me, don't you?
Hold it!
Oh god. Did he do it? Oh! Did they work together? Seaman Stroganoff. Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth. Well, this is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You are a great detective. You should know. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors, like Danny Phantom? Yet, it's impossible. Ugh, he's right. Bro, we saw this door lock itself from the not this door, the other. No, this is her room, right? Yeah, we saw it happen. Yeah, but wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside. Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel with not a gap in sight. No threads or needles or magnets could have been used. No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so... Suzato-san, how could you shift it onto me like that? Yeah, throw me under the bus. Since even Stroganov has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. Yeah, bitch. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside? One way does spring to mind, yes. Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo? No, but I'ma fake it. Yes, and so should you. If you have eyes, because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? It's right over here. Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. It's this. Can I...
Yes!
Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe... Yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia acting on the objects. Yeah, let's go! Is there nothing Suzato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. Dun dun! The bolt on the cabin door. Ah! It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... hello, is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Isogi was killed... Just like that. The SS Buria made another emergency stop. When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments... It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah, and then Suzato went and messed with the crime scene. And I stood them all up again, didn't I? Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Isogi's cabin. Oh my! Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? She had to have worked with this guy, right? Because he could call the emergency stop, and he wasn't at the ship's log, so it was empty. Are you out of your mind? You say Buria made emergency stop. It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh, unless she did that. Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you only to press the button in times of emergency. On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. And kill a boy. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Oh, wait! It was you! When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. Oh, did you press it earlier? Sholmes, you idiot. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Gotta test them theories. For the name of science. Mr. Sholmes? Surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. Sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with ship! I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. Oh, and she used to work on the ship, so she knows about the buttons. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider... Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not? You are idiots! Boreal is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop even in middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. And you know what? He will. But next episode, because this episode's getting a little bit long. But hey, sorry that this is longer than I intended. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're still enjoying the series. I'm so glad to see that it did not end with him just tripping over a cat, because I knew it could not. Otherwise, I'd be kind of upset. Oh my god, upset. But yeah, blah blah blah. I talk too much. As always, feel free to leave a like, comment, favorite, or subscribe, whatever you guys are feeling. Until the next time, lights off, dark out.